Hello and welcome to my YouTube channel. This is Sheen, and the topic of today's video is something that I wanted to talk about for a very long time. About a year ago, I made a tweet about a cult named Falun Gong. I believe it was in November of 2020, but I never made that video, essentially because god fucking damn, this goes deep. It's unbelievable how powerful this cult is and how much it influences the media that we consume. So let's talk about it. Let's talk about Falun Gong. By the way, please ignore the bird sound in the background. I cannot fucking help it. It's gonna be there throughout the video, and I'm sorry, can't do anything about it. What is Falun Gong? Falun Gong is a cult disguised as a quote-unquote spiritual movement. It was founded in early 1990s by Li Hongzhi. Falun Gong claims it has around 70 million followers in China, and the Chinese government also claims that they had around 70 million members. We will get to this point later, but anyways, as this movement was clearly growing, it became a threat to the CCP, the Chinese Communist Party. And Falun Gong's leader was exiled by the Chinese government in 1998. And yes, in China, Falun Gong members are being persecuted. That is true. According to Amnesty International, tens of thousands of Falun Gong practitioners have been arbitrarily detained as part of a campaign of intimidation. They have been held in psychiatric hospitals, re-education through labor facilities, which is a form of administrative detention imposed without charge, trial, or judicial review, or sentenced to long-term prisons. Now here comes the allegation. The allegation is that the Falun Gong members' organs are being specifically harvested because they are of better quality. Because Chinese mythology says our emotional and mental health are connected to our physical organs, being liver, lungs, heart, kidneys, and spleen. Therefore, Falun Gong members must have better organs. Therefore, according to the teachings of the Falun Gong, CCP knows this and has implemented a wide-scale program to harvest organs from Falun Gong practitioners. Therefore, the allegation. There have even been pro-Falun Gong websites which have said that doctors say that they have Falun Gong in stock. Now, there is proof that the CCP has done that with executed prisoners, but not Falun Gong members specifically. But of course, it doesn't sound bad enough. So, therefore, Falun Gong people say their organs are specifically harvested by the CCP. This allegation is something that the human rights experts are pretty skeptical of. They don't really believe it because there's currently no proof of that happening. Currently, the headquarters of the Falun Gong is a compound in New York State where the leader of the Falun Gong and the close members of the Falun Gong live. So, what are Falun Gong's teachings? Let's talk about it. Falun Gong takes some of its teachings from Buddhism and just twists them into something else. Falun Gong's main teaching is that Master Li puts something in your stomach known as the Falun. It's some magic sort of thing. And the Falun harnesses all the positive energy of the universe, which is known as Gong. So, Falun Gong. Here's a propaganda video of the Falun Gong.
Falun Dafa is an advanced cultivation system that was created by Mr. Li Hongzhi. It originates from the Falun Dafa cultivation practice in the Buddha school and cultivates Jun Shan Ren, or truthfulness, compassion, forbearance, the supreme characteristics of the universe. The Falun that Master has planted at the lower abdominal area automatically absorbs energy from the universe, transforms the energy, and helps a practitioner to practice. When rotating counterclockwise, the Falun emits energy. It can correct all abnormal states and bring salvation to sentient beings.
And in order to harness this energy, you need to meditate for long periods of time and exercise, etc. And in order to harness more of this energy, you need to buy and read Master Li's books, videos, and go to multi-day seminars held by Master Li. But at the end of the day, it's all worth it because those who do this will achieve maximum level of happiness, success, health, etc. The usual cult stuff. That's why I said that this is a cult. So I guess you might have a question in mind. Jean, why the hell did you describe Falun Gong as a cult? Don't all religion have some element of fiction in them? Like Christianity has Bible and their stories and stuff like that. Don't all religion have some element of fiction in them? And the answer to that is, yeah, I agree with you there. The line between religion and cult is not very well defined. Something that we consider religion now might be considered cult in 100 years or so. But the main reasons why I say that the Falun Gong is a cult is because of some of Master Li's claims and Falun Gong's teachings. You see, Master Li claims to be an interdimensional being with supernatural powers, like he is God. And there are people who have left the Falun Gong and have said that people around Master Li treat him as if he is God, because he is God to them.
When Li Hongzhi would speak, the way she looked at him was just like he was God, because that's what these people believe, that Li Hongzhi is effectively God.
Another one of Falun Gong's beliefs is that every race was created by a different god and therefore must never be mingled. He considers mixed race people to be quote-unquote spiritually defective. And oh, by the way, just in case you're wondering, Falun Gong also teaches that when we die, every single race will go to a different planet. Like the Chinese will have another planet that they'll go to, the Germans will have another planet, etc. And that's why, according to the Falun Gong teachings, people who are mixed race are spiritually defective. He also considers China to be bad and communism to be bad, not because of, the principles of communism. We all could agree on that. But he thinks that communism is bad, not because of its principles, but because it's an European ideology and run by demonic forces. That's why CCP and China are bad. Another thing that I found to be absolutely hilarious is that Master Lee claimed on camera that he can levitate, and people who join Falun Gong members can also learn to levitate.
越练越好的时候，他就会起来。这个我们学员中也很多，但是大多数呢都不让他表现出来，因为那么多人都表现出来，他会破坏常人社会状态。
I mean, if this is not a cult, then I don't know what a cult is, okay? Falun Gong is anti-medicine, anti-evolution, anti-science. He brags about his compound in New York and says that there's barely a screw or a nail or a metal joint to be found. And by the way, he has claimed that humanity has been destroyed more than 80 times and is gonna be destroyed again in about 30 or 50 years or so. I don't remember the exact number. But yeah, this is crazy. Another thing that we found out from the investigation by the NBC is that he has arranged marriages for Falun Gong members. No homosexuality stuff though, but he has arranged marriages for the Falun Gong members. And there are now kids growing up in this cult who I especially feel bad for. You know, kids shouldn't be in a cult. Kids should be in school. So you might be wondering, well, if this cult is really as bad as you say that it is, then it must be a small cult. It can't be very big. It can't be influential. Because if it was, we would have all heard about it. And the answer to that is, well, they are very successful, especially among Chinese immigrants, because they know how bad the CCP is, and Falun Gong is also against the CCP. Although its success is not just limited to Chinese immigrants. When I started to research all of this stuff last year, I had just one question in mind. How have I never heard about this cult? Look at them. They are so influential. Why don't they get as much attention as Nexium, for example, or Scientology? As I started to research this topic, I could only find two reasons as to why that might be the case. First reason is because China has decided to ban religion, which is obviously bad. So if you're against Falun Gong, which is a sort of a spiritual movement, then it looks like you're pro-CCP. You know, because whatever China is against is good, right? No. The answer is no. That doesn't have to be the case. Both can be bad at the same time. That was the first reason. The second reason is because of propaganda. Like a lot of cults, Falun Gong also uses its members for unpaid labor to, test their faith or something. And Falun Gong has specially used that labor to develop an extensive propaganda network. That is the thing that was the most shocking part about Falun Gong, its propaganda network. So let's talk about Falun Gong's propaganda network, because goddamn, this goes deep. Shenyun is a dance group that goes around the world and performs traditional Chinese dances in many cities. Shenyun is run by the Shenyun Arts Foundation, which is run by the Falun Gong. There's even a quote by Master Li about Shenyun. He says, and I quote, "There was a group of Dafa members involved in arts who wished to use their professional skills to expose the persecution and save sentient beings." So yeah, Falun Gong and Shenyun are linked together. That's where Falun Gong gets most of its money from, by the way. First of all, let me just clarify, there isn't even such a thing as quote-unquote traditional Chinese dance. These Shenyun people are just taking advantage and collecting money from people who are culturally ignorant. But yeah, Shenyun essentially goes around and performs in multiple cities, and that's where most of the money of Falun Gong comes from. And oh my god, I remember before COVID, when the Shenyun performers were about to come to our city, they were advertising all over the place, and they have said that they'll start performing in 2022. So yeah. In one of the advertisements of Shenyun, they were showing a testimony of a person who has just watched the show. And don't get mad at me, but she sounded like she was fucking drunk, okay? Insert clip here, please.
I see God. I see the spirit of love and peace and the way that you would want the universe to be.
I'm incredibly inspired after coming tonight.
I feel 30 years younger.
Normally I'm bored when she takes me to these things, but I loved it. I could go another couple hours.
It was just amazing.
Yeah.
See it 100 more times.
The reviews on the website are even worse. It definitely looks like these are fake reviews. 'Cause I don't believe a dance show can change someone's life that much, you know? By the way, Falun Gong uses Shenyun as a propaganda arm. It can be seen in Shenyun dances too. Like they play up their persecution to a cartoonish extent that nobody would believe. It's just really odd. Here's a review from the New Yorker. The dances continue. A man came on stage to sing a song in Chinese, which translated on the screen behind him. We follow Dafa, the Great Way, and started singing about a creator who saved mankind and made the world anew. Atheism and evolution are deadly ideas. Modern trends destroy what makes us human, he sang. Now let's talk about another propaganda arm of the Falun Gong. Shenyun is a performing arts festival and it targets middle-aged women. Another propaganda arm of the Falun Gong is the newspaper Epoch Times. This newspaper targets older men who are anti-China, anti-communism. Those usually include mostly right-wing men. And because Falun Gong believes such bullshit things, they have in the past pushed conspiracy theories without evidence as news. By the way, this is the group that believed that Trump is this divine being who will end communism in China. Therefore, combining Falun Gong's beliefs and Falun Gong's political beliefs, it opens up the door to any conspiracy theory against anyone who doesn't support Trump. By the way, I still cannot believe that there are people who believe that Trump will get into office now or like in September or something. I don't know. People are crazy. Anywho, let's now talk about another propaganda arm of the Falun Gong. That is their YouTube channels. Most of Falun Gong's YouTube channels are managed by NTD, which stands for New Tang Dynasty. There are many channels who are run under this NTD, one of them being China Uncensored. China Uncensored puts out a continuous stream of anti-China videos and stuff like that, and has made a 50-minute long video on the Falun Gong. I'll link that video below. You can watch it yourself. They mention Falun Gong organ harvesting, which even human rights experts have doubts about. Essentially, Falun Gong claims that their organs are better than other human beings because the CCP knows that the organs of Falun Gong members are better than others. That is the Falun Gong conspiracy theory, and China Uncensored talked about it for a long time. But they never, ever mentioned anything negative about the Falun Gong. Like, goddamn, you could have mentioned the race planets or levitation just for the lols, you know? You're a sarcastic news channel, right? But nope, they didn't. Because the person who works for China Uncensored works for the Falun Gong. And China Uncensored is under Falun Gong. That's why. There are also other YouTube channels which are quietly pushing for Falun Gong. Like, there are some beauty YouTube channels which quietly push for Falun Gong. Links in the description as exercises. Like, I found this channel, then there is this YouTube channel called Beauty Within, which does the same. There's also another big YouTube channel which does the same, which never talks about how kooky the beliefs are of the Falun Gong. The YouTube channel's name is Edge of Wonder, and they are just a kooky YouTube channel. They talk about QAnon conspiracy theories.
According to Q, the source of the financial control of the world are three groups: the Rothschilds, George Soros, and Saudi Arabia.
They are just the worst. And whenever it comes to the Falun Gong, they never mention how awful Falun Gong is. They mention the persecution, they mention the organ harvesting conspiracy theory, which, like I've said, even human rights experts have doubts about, but they never talk about the kooky beliefs of the Falun Gong. When I made a tweet last year about making a video on the Falun Gong, there was just one person, just one, who was talking against the Falun Gong. Of course, you know, there are other people who were talking about it, but he was the only big YouTuber who was talking about this stuff. But the more that I looked into him, the more that I found out that no, he's also not trustworthy. Do you know why? 'Cause he is an American who moved to China and now promotes CCP propaganda. I cannot fucking believe this. The one guy who speaks out against this fucking cult is also not trustworthy because he is also promoting propaganda. So, you know, as Master Lee likes race mixing and multiculturalism so much, here's a video by a Russian dude who absolutely destroys Nathan Rich, who is an American who moved to China and promotes CCP propaganda and tried to smear a South African dude who lived in China for more than 10 years and exposed what happened in China through his YouTube channel. What did I just say? Nobody knows. What did I mean? Watch the video I've linked in the description. So, as you can see, there's propaganda on the Falun Gong side, there's propaganda on the China side, there's propaganda everywhere. And its target, whether you realize it or not, is you. By the way, propaganda can happen with the same exact fact as well. Like, the Falun Gong says at the height of their success, they had around 70 million followers. CCP also says that they had around 70 million followers, but the CIA says that they had around 2 million followers. Now you can imagine why Falun Gong might want to inflate its number of members because they want to seem more important. And you can see why the CCP want to inflate the numbers of the Falun Gong members, because they wanted to show that the Falun Gong is a big threat. So there's a propaganda battle going on here. And honestly, I don't know what the truth is anymore. Both sides communicate with propaganda. Falun Gong rarely responds to the media or answers questions. And the CCP, well, we all know the CCP, so let's just leave it at that. So, in this world of propaganda, how do you recognize it? How do you recognize when someone is talking that they are being truthful or they are just promoting propaganda? Here's how to recognize propaganda regarding Falun Gong. If the person just talks about the Falun Gong being just a spiritual movement, it's sort of a flag that they might not know what Falun Gong is, but don't jump to conclusions just yet. The biggest giveaway is if they mention the organ harvesting theory, specifically of Falun Gong members, and if they try to make it seem like it's the single largest human rights abuse going on in China. If they're focusing a lot on that, then yeah, what you're watching is propaganda. There probably could be more to Falun Gong because we don't really know the inner workings of this cult. They are very secretive about how they work and stuff like that and what goes inside. They don't talk to the media and usually just communicate via propaganda. And like I've said, right, it was the NBC who investigated and figured out that there were arranged marriages happening which were arranged by the leader. There's a lot of secret stuff here and we don't really know what's going on. There could be a lot. So yeah, that's all that I have for this video. Like this video if you liked it. Comment your thoughts down below about what you think. Subscribe for more videos. And yeah, I'll talk to you guys later on, I guess. I'm sorry, I'm just really tired. I have been recording this for about 3 hours at this point under this blanket and goddamn, I'm feeling really hot.